Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And yes, didn't have that many shows this week because I was crazy busy and still am insanely busy, as you know, still running for government, trying to get so many things done. Phone calls and raising money and getting petitions and all the things that drive me crazy. But I keep trying anyway. And boy, is it tough. But we got to keep going. There is only one way but forward. So for those of you who've been so patient with me, not having so many shows, thank you for your patience. For those of you who are helping me and making this happen, please don't stop. I require more people to assist to the best of your ability. So please head out there if you can. I appreciate that. By the way, with that in mind, I absolutely will be traveling across New York State yet again. But I've been upstate a lot recently. These next couple of weeks, I'm spending more time kind of in a downstate area more than anything. Depends on how you look at that. This Saturday, March 21st, as in tomorrow, I will be in Staten Island at 2 p.m. at the West Shore Inn Steakhouse. If you can pop by at 2 p.m., I will be at Sherwood's Beer Garden in Larchmont, New York, which is in Westchester at 6 p.m. So if you can come to either of those, please come by, say hi. They are free. Like to see you there. If you would, please, buy a beer or a cup of coffee or something. Support the local guy or gal who runs it. It's always nice. Sunday, a petitioning event, 9 a.m. at the Neptune Diner in Bayside. If you can stop by and assist, they're great. Even just showing up, saying hi. If you want to come by and sign a petition, if you're a registered Republican, please come do so. If you want to come help us do that, we're going to go into the neighborhood. 2 more candidates will be there also. So I'll be supporting other candidates also. I know Larry Sharpe supporting other candidates. It's true. I kind of do that. Yes, I do. So if you can come by, that would be great. One more time, if you don't mind, tomorrow, Saturday, March 21st, 2 p.m. at the West Shore Inn Steakhouse in Staten Island. 6 p.m. tomorrow at Sherwood's Beer Garden in Larchmont, New York. That's in Westchester. Sunday, March 22nd, petitioning event starting at 9 a.m. at the Neptune Diner in Bayside, New York. That's in Queens. If you can come, that'd be great. We're then going to head off into the neighborhood to get signatures for my petitions so I can keep rocking and rolling. Guys, thank you so much. If I can see you there, that would be amazing. And as always, please click the button known as like, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, if you can do so. If you've not shared this, please share this. It is important. And remember, this is an AMA, so I will be chatting and taking more questions and comments from all different things. But I wanted to start with something. And I'm starting with the idea that most people aren't talking about. Generally speaking, people speak about the Ukraine war as a totally separate war from the Iran war, which they are separate. It's true, but they are very much linked in many ways, right? And then one question I would ask is, do we think Russia is going to be involved or affect the Iranian war? And I think there's an obvious question of, obvious answer of, depending, but yes, I think that's true. Yes. Questions how, right? And I do think, without question, we know this already. This is already, we know this. Russia is already giving Iran intelligence, right, and reconnaissance on how to bomb Americans, Israelis, other allies. So we know that's happening already. But the odd part, which I actually get, is Trump's not even mad at it. And to be forward, it sounds horrible to be forward. We're giving Ukrainians the same to bomb Russians. So as much as I hate it, I do get it. I mean, we're doing it to them. They're doing it back to us. I get that. But will they go further? Now, some of you might say, wait a minute, Larry, I heard or I saw or someone said there's going to be boots on the ground. Marines are going there now, or the 82nd Airborne is going there now. So they're going to invade this island. They keep talking about this island. They're going to capture this island and stop the Iranians and such. Is that possible? I guess, but it seems silly to me. And I hope I'm right. I don't want to be wrong on this, because if they actually go take this island, or there's two separate islands. One is right by the Straits of Hormuz. One is a little bit further up. It's like a processing center or something like that. If they actually take these islands, our troops are going to be sitting ducks and they're going to be just destroyed. We're going to lose a whole lot of troops for nothing. So I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. We don't do that. I don't think we will, because it seems crazy for us to do it. So I don't think we will, but that's what we're talking about. What I think we're going to consider doing, which to me seems to actually make sense if you're going to do something, is to actually try and capture other types of power plants. Michael, Larry, why would they want to capture power? Why is that different? Here's the reason behind this. If they go capture some oil this or oil that, the Iranians will bomb it. They won't think twice. They'll just bomb it, and they'll bomb us in it. We're bombing it. We're bombing it. They're bombing it. But what's the one thing we almost never bomb? Almost never bomb. Very rare, here or there, but very rarely we ever bomb this. Yes, nuclear power plants. Iran has a couple here or there. Most of them are Russian. Yes. So there's Russian people there at nuclear power plants. So if we're able to capture nuclear power plants, that harms the Iranians because they can't use nuclear power. And if they can't use their gas because they're blowing the gas stuff, that hurts their energy. They actually can't do stuff. Now, are they going to bomb us while we defend the nuclear power plant? The odds are less for two reasons. One, in theory, we'd probably capture the Russian people there, and they wouldn't want to bomb Russians, and they wouldn't want to bomb a nuclear power plant. So if anything, my assumption, and I have no inside knowledge, this is my assumption from what makes sense to me. You can, yeah, maybe I'll be wrong, but I cannot see, if there's going to be boots on the ground, I cannot see us taking those two islands everyone's talking about. I can't see it. It seems crazy. We're already bombing those islands. They'll just bomb our people and it'll be a disaster. If anything, I would see us taking some of the Russian nuclear power plants, if anything, because that would also harm them just as badly, would harm them. And the odds of them bombing us and killing our people go down because you probably don't want to bomb a nuclear power plant. And you also don't want to harm Russians who are your allies. So that is we want to keep the Russians to run the power plant. We want to keep them, right? In theory. So I could see something like that happening. The problem is, if we start doing that, do the Russians want to intervene? Now, there's a second piece here that people aren't talking about. The Ukrainians are going to supposedly intervene. I warned you all of this literally last year. I warned you all of this literally last year. Drones are the future of warfare. That's who they are. They're now warfare. They're not even, they're present now. America hasn't realized that, but now they're going to have to. They're seeing it already. NATO is way behind on this. It's embarrassingly behind on this. NATO's embarrassingly behind on this. So for those of you who don't know, when Ukraine war first started, NATO people were training Ukrainian forces. That's how it began. Now the reverse is true. Ukrainian veterans are now training NATO forces. I'm not joking. It's reversed. So now there's, I think 200 or something, whatever that number is, of Ukrainians are going to now head down and supposedly help Israel or us to fight Iran. I think they're trying to do that. Now, this seems odd. Why? If I've got 200 Ukrainians who could, use drone warfare against Iranians, why wouldn't I use them against Russians in my own country? Right? Why wouldn't I use them against the Russians in my own country? Why would I send them abroad when I'm supposedly in a fight for my life right now for my own nation, right? Why would, if America was fighting a war and the Canadians, I mean, that's imaginary, but if the Canadians were invading us and beating us, why would we send our troops abroad when we'd have to stop the evil Canadians from, I mean, that's silly. But anyway, theoretically, why would we stop? We wouldn't, right? But they're sending them. That's weird. Why? Obviously, we're either giving them something. I mean, those individuals, as I mentioned, they're being paid. The Israelis or the Americans are going, hey, you're sitting in the Ukrainian war, making $250 a month or whatever, $1,000 a month, whatever they're paying them, $1,000 a month, whatever that number is. And maybe you're getting paid, maybe not. And you're risking your life. Come down here, hang out in Israel or Syria or wherever they're going to station them, on a boat, wherever they station them. We'll pay you $3,000 a month, 3 times what you're making. And the odds of getting killed are slim. They're going to be like, bye. And they're going to come on down. Yeah. Now you might go, well, Larry, isn't that good for us that now these Ukrainians have come down and done this? Now we're good, right? Because now we're going to have drone fighters. Well, in theory, yes, but then don't Russians come down now then? There's more Russians than there are Ukrainians. If 200 Ukrainians come down, does that mean 1,000 Russians come down? Does that mean 10,000 Russians come down? The opposite? Does that mean the Russians go, yeah, send them all, and then the Russians crush Ukraine? Because their drone operators go, I'm not going to sit here with this lost cause getting killed. I'll go get paid whatever, X $1,000 per month, and I'll go bomb Iranians. They don't care. Ukrainians don't care if they're bombing Russians, bombing Ukrainians. What do they care? I'm getting paid, and I'm using my drones, and I'm done. $4,000 a month. Done. Whatever. They're $5,000 a month. They'll just if there aren't enough, they'll just charge more. And what will happen? We'll pay for it. Of course it will. We're already getting what, $200 billion more for this war? A chunk of that's going on drone operators. I guarantee it. I've been saying this forever. The Ukraine war has shown us the future, and we have not paid attention. And our fighters getting knocked out of the sky now, and we're finding out already that, as I've been saying again, you've been hearing me say this for months. We're figuring out already that our carriers are obsolete already, and the future's drones. So why are we making the F-47? For what reason? Stupid. We should not make that at all. But we're making it anyway. We should be making drones, and more drones, and more drones, and more drones. There is no difference to where the machine gun came out and we wanted to keep making better bayonets. Stupid. Make better machine guns. And the tank came out. We wanted to make, better rifles, make better tanks. And now the drones have come out. Stop making better planes, make better drones. It's just stop it. But there we are. So anyway, thought it's interesting. I want to bring that piece up where I think it's going. And my worry is this may make the war go even longer. I could understand why a general might go, hey, let's bring these Ukrainians in to make the war end faster, because we'll be able to blow up the Iranians faster because we have these great Ukrainians who can use these drones. But the problem is, what's the swap? The opposite side is bring Russians in to fight Ukrainians. So now Russia, Ukraine's fighting up north, and now Russia, Ukraine's fighting in the south. Safer in the south, probably. So you probably get more to come down south. So yeah. Anyway, thought it was interesting. I'll grab some comments and questions on this, and we'll move forward on this one. And this is, if Russia and Iran are the boogeymen, but we're the ones paying the bills for these weapons and making the defense companies rich while our own economy suffers, is there a right side to be on? Yes, the right side is on the side of the military-industrial complex. That side always wins. So that's the winner no matter what. They always seem to win. Yes, that's correct. Dee is giving up some nice, cool stuff here. She says, find the Sharpe Way podcast on all Larry Sharpe social media platforms and his link tree. Yes, the link tree is actually linked on in Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Check it out if you want to. And you can buy me a coffee. See, if you love me, you can buy me a coffee. You can tip me there at buymeacoffee.com/the Sharpe Way. Up to you. I appreciate it. So yes, she's correct. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. All right, let me grab a couple of these here. A guy's going back and forth. I like that. Mike says, Russia will not directly help Iran, just as China will not. Iran has global ire based on decades of terrorism. Iran is done. You got a comment. Do you have more there, Mike? Or let me see if I got any more before I go on. I don't see any more right now. So I think that's where I think that you meant it to be a period, I think. If I've misread you, I'll see if I can pop it up. I disagree completely. I think Iran does not have ire in the eyes of China or Russia. I think Russia and China see Iran in a whole different way than we see them. We see them obviously as sponsors of terror. That's how we see them. China's like, good freedom fighters. Russia's like, good, attack the West. I don't think those two countries see Iran at all as bad at all. I think the reverse. That's why Russia is openly giving Iran targeting for us, openly doing it. China is openly taking the oil, buying the oil from them. It's obvious. That's why Iran is letting Chinese tankers out of the Gulf. I mean, I think China and Russia completely see Iran utterly different than we do. I don't think they see them as bad at all. They're happy to be on their side. If Ukraine puts troops on the ground, if out here, I'll change it. If Ukraine puts troops in theater, maybe that's a better way of putting it. If Ukraine puts troops in theater, I think Russia will too. They won't think twice. Why wouldn't they? Which is directly helping them, right? They're directly helping them already by giving them targeting on us, already doing it. You're going to see them do some form of lend-lease, whatever that is. If you guys remember from World War II, lend-lease, the Americans gave the British tons of destroyers, try to stop German submarines. And on the you can lend them, lease them type things. Basically, it was a nice way of giving it to them. I think you'll find the same thing with Russia. Russia and China will do some form of lend-lease based upon future oil sales. That's what it'll be, based on future oil sales. And they'll give them tons of drones and or drone operators and or cash and or missiles, whatever. I think you're going to find this was going to be wrong, Mike. They are already doing it, number one, and will continue. It is absolutely in both Russia and China's best interest that this war goes on for a long time. China would love this war to go on for a long time. Love it. It would increase their Belt and Road Initiative. They can build an actual pipeline directly to Iran, gives them a reason to do so. Going through Russia, even better. This war, if it goes on, and again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, if Trump can end this war by the summer, right, if he can, and it looks like we've won in that treaty or in that agreement, he's going to be a hero. You're right, he'll be a hero. If he can't, if this goes on to December, it's not going to be good for him at all. And I'm not the one who knows that, obviously. China knows that too. So does Russia. China would love this to go on. China would love this to go on until next year. They would hope we're fighting Iran through next year. And if China can do anything to make that happen, they will assist. And how do you do that? By somehow making sure Iran doesn't surrender. That's their goal. If I was China, that would be my goal. What can I do to make sure you guys don't surrender? What do I got to do? Just the same way we did it with Ukraine, we screwed Ukraine over. We gave them just enough so they can't beat the Russians, but just enough to just keep fighting. Our whole goal was to wear down the Russians. And China's going to do the exact same thing in Iran. They're going to try to. Whether they'll be successful, I don't know. But their goal is, no. You keep fighting them, Americans. You keep using all the missiles. Use all the missiles. Shoot down all their planes. Here's more stuff. Oh, you can't win. But here's just enough to keep fighting. I think they're going to copy the Ukraine model that we use in Ukraine. China would try that in Iran. It's what I would do. So I do not think that they see that at all. Iran is nowhere near done. It's nowhere near done. To imagine that is just to believe, I don't know what you're believing. They're nowhere near done. They have not surrendered. They're not even trying to make a deal yet. Maybe by the summer, if the Chinese can't afford it, if the Russians can't afford it, maybe. But at the moment, they're not done. They're not going to win. I mean, obviously. But again, in the case of Iran, they don't have to win. They have to simply not lose. That's their goal. So anyway, I hope that makes sense at least. Andrew says, I think the Russians are too roped up in their SMO. That's right, special military operation. And Ukraine didn't even think about Iran. Ukraine sent 200 people. They're not roped up in that. They're the ones getting hammered. For those who don't know, Ukraine's still losing that war. They've been losing that war for at least 2 years. There was a time when they were winning. They had a short period when they were really on the offensive, when they were doing very well. It was a short time where they were winning. But since then, they've been losing that war for years. They're just slowly losing. The cities keep falling. The towns keep falling. The land keeps losing. Don't get me wrong. It's a slow grind, but they're still losing. So, yeah. Master Manao says, if you go to Sherwood Beer Garden, there's an off chance you might meet Maid Marian. I know someone who has a kid named Marian. She could be watching right now, perhaps. So maybe if she'll come, if you're listening and watching, bring your daughter. And then, yes, I would meet a maid named Marian. That's true. That could happen. So absolutely. Andrew goes on to say, maybe they'll send like humanitarian aid or something light, but very little beyond that. I disagree again. I think they're already they're already giving intelligence. They're not going to send humanitarian aid. I think they would actually, in a certain case, if they believed what I'm talking about, if they honestly believed, and I don't know if this is true, this is total speculation. If the Russians actually believed that Americans were going to capture nuclear power plants, Russians might send troops to defend them, knowing that the troops being there would stop us from doing it, right? If the Russians put troops, if the Russians want to stop, if I'm Putin, I'm telling you what I would do. I absolutely send Russian forces to guard the nuclear power plants. That's what I would do. Have the Russian forces guard it. They're Russian. That would stop Americans from attacking immediately. So that's what I would say. But we'll see. Phil says, Larry's the godfather of independent candidates. Oh, thank you for $2, my friend. I appreciate that. Yes. He goes on to say, do you think North Korea sends advisors? No, not in this one. There's no need. North Korea doesn't gain anything in this. The type of warfare that North Korea needs to learn, they're already learning in Ukraine. They've already sent, was it 10,000, whatever the troops? I forgot how many they sent. They sent probably a division already into Ukraine. So North Koreans wanted to blood the troops, see what it's like, understand them, so they have a backbone, non-commissioned officers and officer corps who've been in combat and know what the new stuff is. They've done it in Ukraine already. There's still North Korean troops in Ukraine. So why would they send them into Iran so they can be bombed? This isn't actual, at least now it isn't. This isn't an actual back and forth on the ground war yet. If that ever happens, I don't see that happening, by the way. I don't think America's going to actually like invade Iran and try to conquer them. I don't see that, but maybe, but I don't see it. If that were to happen, then they probably would, because they want to bloody their troops, but they can bloody them in Ukraine. They don't require them. And you might, for those who don't know warfare, bloodying your troops is not a negative term when it comes to the military. You want to, if you're a general or a field marshal, you want to bloody your troops. You want your troops to, quote, have seen the elephant. That's a phrase we use in warfare. Seeing the elephant means you've been in combat. There is literally, everyone will tell you this, no better training for combat than combat. So if you can send your troops to combat and bloody them, you want to do so as a field marshal or as a general. And it may sound horrible, but it's the best training. So now you can train others. It is short-term pain for long-term gain. That's the real reason why North Korea sent troops. The propaganda was the Russians are so desperate, they're begging for North Koreans. Utter garbage, not even close to true, totally propaganda. The North Koreans wanted to send the troops to bloody them. So did the Chinese. So to answer your question, Phil, only if this became an actual ground war. Again, I don't see that, but if it did become that, then they'd probably want to do it. Otherwise, they wouldn't. So, yeah. So Grace says, good to see you still going, Larry. I will never stop, Grace, until they put me in a box. So, yep, at one point, they put me in a box. There we go. Until that day, we're good. All right. Let's see here. Andrew goes asks, also, do you think the recent strike on the old city of Jerusalem is a telltale sign that World War III is imminent? Not that much has been actually destroyed, but too close to call. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is there a this is a tough thing to talk about, because if we were to hang around in the 30s, 1930s, when does World War II start? And most people will tell you World War II started September 1st, 1939. Most people, if you ask that question, most of it, the day that Germany invaded Poland in 1939, September 1st, most would say that. Well, for America, it didn't start till December 7th, 1941. But for, the Russians, it didn't start till June 22nd, 1941, with Operation Barbarossa. So for each one, did it start at a separate time? If you were German at the time, you didn't have one big war. You had several small wars, right? You went into Norway and into Sudetenland and into France and then into Yugoslavia and then into Russia. And so it was multiple wars. So when did it start? Now you go to Japan. When did Japan start in Japan? Japan was fighting in China in the 1930s. So when did the war actually start? The fights and the battles began in the 30s, right? But when was it at its peak? Around 1944, 43, 44, it was at its peak. That's when maximum damage was being done. Maximum battles were happening throughout the globe, 43, 44. But it started, the Japanese were fighting in Manchukuo in 1931. So when did it start? So is the battles in Ukraine, is that the beginnings of World War III? We would look back and go, well, that's right. The equivalent of of Japan fighting in China. Is that Ukraine war now? Is Iran, Sudetenland, or Anschluss? Is that what that is? I don't know. I'm making this up. And at what point is it considered a world war? Was it a world war when Pearl Harbor hit? Did that make it a world war? In which case, World War II started December 7th, 1941. So it's tough to say when assuming this is World War III. I'm not saying it is. When does it start? Here's what I would say. I still think it's a Cold War. This is Cold War II, as I've said before. I don't think this is World War III. This is Cold War II. I'll say it again. I said it before, but Cold War I was USA versus the USSR and the junior partners on both sides. Europe was a junior partner of America. China was a junior partner of the Soviet Union in the first Cold War. And we fought proxies. We fought proxies in China, meaning Vietnam, Korean War. We fought in Afghanistan, right? We fought proxies each other. America and Russia fought against each other in Afghanistan in Cold War I. And then the Soviet Union lost Cold War I in the 90s. They lost it. And what happened? Cold War II started. But now it's reversed. Now our side's the same. America's still senior. Europe is still our junior partner. But now China's senior partner and Russia's junior partner. So now we're fighting proxy wars with Russia, where we used to fight proxy wars with China. And while Russia was spending more cash, now China's spending more cash. So we're now in a Cold War. And we're fighting Afghanistan again, right? Like we fought them in Afghanistan. They funded up when we fought in Afghanistan. They stayed in Afghanistan for 10 years. We stayed for 20. So I think the same thing. I think we're in a Cold War right now, not World War III. I could be wrong. We'll see, but I'm rarely wrong. So I don't think I think we're in a Cold War still. That's my gut. Now, Cold War I never turned into a hot war. It just stayed in a Cold War. The Russians lost it, and then we started Cold War II. I'm hoping the same thing will happen, right? Someone will lose it. I hope it's not us. Lose the Cold War, and then we'll start Cold War III, or maybe we'll stop. If our empire falls, there will be a Dark Ages. I don't want a Dark Ages. So we'll see if that works or not. So gift of membership, guys. Thank you, Cage. Thank you so much for the gift of membership. Phil, again, thank you, guys. Grab the memberships if you can. Thank you so much for memberships. They do matter tremendously. They help a lot. Thank you for that. Lunatic in the house, $10. The world is ruined unless we end the violence, ideologies, labels, titles, and categories. No matter what, we all lose. The Matrix has won. The Matrix right now is winning. You're not wrong, Lunatic. It is. The problem with violence, and you and I talk about this often, is sometimes violence becomes the only resort because they won't let you do anything else, right? I'm trying my best to create enough opportunity and chances so that we don't go to violence. Now, we may still go. Could happen. If it does happen, I want to be able to say with a clean conscience, I did everything I could that I could do to not make this happen. Because if it happens, it will be horrible. You might go, Larry, you're afraid. I told my daughters this today. They talked about it. My daughters talked about this stuff. Some friends talk about it. A lot of people think this is going to violence. It's a common thing. And I say, am I personally afraid? No. I'm not. I'm worried about my daughters, but I'm not personally afraid. No, I'm not. I'm not afraid of violence. I'm old enough to where I'm not going to be in the front line. I'm giving orders, right? I'm ordering you to shoot people. I'm not shooting anybody. I'm not getting shot because I'm wearing leaders. So I'm not worried. I'm not afraid of violence. I'll lead men. It'll be fine, right? The smart people will rush off into the woods or the mountains and wait. And when it's over, I'll call them back down to rebuild. It's fine. That's what will happen. The problem is there'll be tons of violence and pain. And I don't want that. And if it happens, I know I'll be part of it in some way because that's who I am. I'll be part of it in some way. And the horrible things that I will have to do to survive and to keep my family alive. And I will do the horrible things if required. I want to know that I went out of my way to not do them. That the things I will have to do to keep my family good, that I had no real choice, that I tried to not do that. So when I'm giving the orders to harm people, I did my best to not do that. I don't want to just fall in line. If that makes any sense. I know it sounds horrible. It's very dark. But Lunatic, you and I talk about dark things. The world is dark. I wish I wasn't saying these things, but it's true. The world is dark. We could be going into a horrible place. We're bombing people now. We're killing children right now. It's happening right now. They're bombing people left and right. People are dying. I get it. I'm not fooling myself. I'm trying my best to make it to where there are other options so we don't have to go that route. But if we do, we do. I do. I'm going to try my best to not be part of that. So I'm looking over on Rumble. Mike has bad news, says it would almost be better and quicker war if we were trying to conquer Iran. But we don't fight these types of wars anymore. Instead, we fight wars that are meant to spend as much money as possible. Boy, have you hit it right there. This is the argument that everyone talks about. Vietnam, Korea. If this is the part I bring up constantly, and the vast majority of people would agree with me on this. We lose wars. We rarely lose battles. It is very rare for an American unit to lose a battle. It does happen sometimes. Insanely rare. We win almost every battle we're involved with. And if you win almost every battle, you should win the war, right? You should. And militarily, we would. But politically, we don't. Mike, you're correct. We have the most effective military force on the planet, clearly. Everyone knows that is absolutely true. If we were fighting to actually win a war, we might actually win a war. We might. We haven't won one since 1945. So, because that one we fought to win, to your point. We fought to win, and we won. We haven't fought a war to win since then. We fight wars to, whatever, spend money, I guess. And we spend money. So, I guess in that way we win, but we don't actually win the war, and then we lose the peace on top of it. So, we don't win the war, and we lose the peace. I completely agree with you. if we actually fought to win wars. We lose wars not because of our military. We lose wars because of our politicians. That's why we lose the wars. Our militaries are amazingly strong and win all the time. So, yes. All righty. Looks like I'm looking over on Instagram, and Captain Felix says, I know as libertarians who despise getting involved in wars unless we are specifically attacked. I agree. That's generally true. But don't we think it's better for us and the world to neutralize Iran given their threats? No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. Lots of people threaten, right? I don't think so. Now, maybe there's some intelligence about that. I don't know, but I'm seeing people tell me that the intelligence wasn't clear at all. This was a war of choice. It probably was, but we'll find out. The sad part is we always find out after whether it's true or not. And I don't trust the government. So if the government's telling me it's a threat, I don't believe it because they've been wrong so many times. They lied about Korea. They said, if we don't stop North Korea, the whole world's going to go communism. We didn't stop North Korea, it didn't go communism. They told us Vietnam. If we have to win, it's the domino effect. They told us Vietnam. Remember that domino effect? If Vietnam goes, the whole world goes. We lost Vietnam. Vietnam went communist, and the world didn't end. So utter lie. Don't believe them either, right? Oh my God, Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. Lie, wasn't true at all. Afghanistan didn't even have Osama. Osama was in Pakistan. So that wasn't true. So Afghanistan, a lie. Iraq, a lie. Vietnam, a lie. Korea, a lie. All of them lie. So why would I trust them now? Look, I hope I'm wrong. Captain Felix, I hope, and I mean this, I'm not joking when I say this, not being facetious. I hope next year, Mike and I talk about this. Mike thinks I'm totally wrong in this. He thinks this is the right answer. Okay, next year we're going to know. I think Mike's wrong. I think the government's lying to us. I think it's not the real thing. But next year we'll find out. And if I'm wrong, I will have Mike on and I will eat crow and he can tell me how wrong I am and how bad I am. Captain Felix, you can tell me how wrong and bad I am. I'm happy. And I mean this. I hope I'm wrong. I would be very happy to have Mike on here and tell me how wrong I was and what a knucklehead I was. I hope he'll do it. I mean, I know he'll do it, but I hope it will actually happen. Mike will happily do that. But I'm hoping that I can have one who do it. I hope I'm wrong. I'm saying it publicly, but I don't trust the government. They have a track record of lying to us. I have no reason to believe them. None. This isn't the Trump thing. This isn't this is, you guys know me. I didn't believe it when Bush said it, when Obama said it. None of them. I don't believe any of them. I think I didn't. Kennedy, doesn't matter. Johnson, Truman, no. All of them. Don't believe any of them. So that's where I am. I hope I'm proved wrong. I don't see it though. I think a year from now, I'm going to be like, yep, I was right. That's what I think. I think a year from now, I'll be like, see, told you guys. That's what I think. But we'll find out. Lunatic, thank you for the $5. We all know neutralization should be where? Do we have the sack to truly be removed from the... See? We have to get to a point, Lunatic, to where... I know you see this. I know you see this. So many of us are complacent. I see it in just voting. I see it in people supporting me run for governor. Whatever, Larry, I don't know. I'll see when I have time. I will when I can. Let's see. All of that shit all the time. They're complacent. But they'll complain like there's no tomorrow. They'll complain every day, every night, all the time. And then when I say, okay, to your point, sack up, they go, well, you know, I just got stuff going on or whatever. So it has to be a point, Lunatic, to where the people are like, it doesn't matter what's going on. I have to do this. That's number one. Number two, they have to believe that it's going to matter. The second piece we have is not just the idea of them being complacent, but also not believing any of it matters. What am I going to do, Lunatic? I'm going to start something and nothing's going to happen, you know? And people ask me, Larry, you know, when do you know it's like really happening? Like it's hitting the fan right now. How do you know? And I'll give you a couple times when you know. When we have organized violence and the governors call out for the National Guard and half the guard don't show. When that happens, that's when you know. I'm not joking. When the governor says, I need National Guard units X, Y, and Z to show up here, half don't even bother showing up. Or some show and march off. Not under the governor, but under somebody else. When that starts happening, that's when we know. That's when we know they have sacked up, I'll use that phrase, enough to do that. When we know that. When that happens, we will know. And at that point, you'll at that point, I'm like, okay, guys, it's done. Get the armbands. Because we're doing it. Let's go do this now. That's what's gonna happen. That's when you'll know. So yes. Until then, it's everyone who tries anything just gets mad and then gets arrested. And the judges just go, put him in jail, and the cops go, put him in jail, and the feds go, put him in jail, But at one point they go, I'm not putting this guy in jail. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not. At one point that happens. When that happens is when we know. So yes. Michael says, yes, nuclear power plant. See, Mike knows. He's been paying attention. Yes. Mike knows he's paying attention. That's the thing that I think is going to happen. So yes. All right. If I grab that one. Let's see here. There's some more of these if I can. All right. Phil says, so Israel doesn't blow up all the infrastructure. Generally speaking, you don't want to bomb nuclear power plants, right? And it's rare. It happened a couple times. I'm not sure if it's by mistake or on purpose, but it happened a couple times Ukrainian war. I don't know. Of course, they say it's not on purpose, but who knows? So officially, here's what I'll say. Officially, it's never happened on purpose. There we go. So we don't officially on purpose bomb nuclear power plants ever, officially. So yes. Audrey says, I'm not sure which lie was worse. No new wars, cheaper gas and groceries. I wonder how far the Dow will fall. It's dropped below 4,600. Well, now we can talk about it. So, because Dow's low. Let me talk about it. So, yes. Typical watcher says, is it possible Russia takes it as hostile action? Yes, it is possible. But I do not think if we did that, I don't think Russia goes, oh my God, if they take a power plant, let's go over to America. I don't see that. But could they make demands like release our Russians, abandon the property, walk away? Could they make demands and then do other things in other places? Yes. So, for example, if that happened and if they took it that way, they would do something like, I'm making this up conceptually, let all our Russian people go, or we will give the Iranians tanks or whatever. I made that up, or more missiles or something. They'll do something like that. They'll make a threat to say, do X or, we'll do Y or whatever the case may be. Andrew says, as PMCs, they might intervene, anything else? Well, yeah. Also, for those who don't know, PMC is a professional military contractor or professional military contractors or professional military companies. So yeah, they might. It's possible. But again, that's basically Russia. It's the Wagner Group, right? They function as a mercenary. They function effectively as Russian pirates, except on land, not at sea. That's how they function. So yes, but their PMCs are very powerful. Wagner is a serious group. The problem with Wagner, of course, is the Wagner Group PMCs. They're not made for drone warfare. There's a huge, I think it's 1/3. I forgot what the chunk is. A chunk of them are literally just criminals. I'm not joking. Like they pull them out of the prison. I forgot. I think it's a year. They have a plan, whatever the plan is. If you stay in the Wagner Group for X number of time, I think it's 2 years, but whatever, maybe it's a year. Then you're pardoned, or you're commuted. I'm sorry, your sentence is commuted if you survive whatever 2 years or whatever the number is. So they send these guys off to Africa or Ukraine or something, and they fight in front line. So there's no front line right now, Andrew. So I don't see the Wagner Group coming in right now. There's no front line to fight. There's no cities to retake. There's no places to defend. There's no African oil fields or diamond mines to take. That doesn't exist right now. That would have to happen for that to happen. What would happen is they'll bring drone operators in. And that I know of, Wagner does not field drone operators. I could be wrong on that. The last time I checked into Wagner, they were ground troops. They were not drone operators. The Russian army itself has drone operators. So you'd have to have former Russian. The Russians would have to just allow them to leave, or once their time is up, they don't re-enlist and they just, come in on their own. One would assume that the Iran or China, or maybe the Wagner would create a separate PMC that was just drone operators, perhaps. That I know if they don't have that, maybe they would create one, a drone operator group, hire them all for whatever, $3-4 grand a month, send them into Iran and have the Chinese would pay them, $5 grand a month for each of them. They take $2 grand per in their pocket and pay each of them $3 grand a month and send them off to go fight in Iran. I could see that happening. That makes sense. So maybe that. So Phil says, U.S. military just bought some drones from Ukraine. This is the part people don't get at all. Fighting a war longer than a couple of months at max, how wars almost always go is they begin with heavy maneuver, right? We're going to get around the guys, march in their capital, blow up their front lines, whatever the case may be, right? Any of those things. That's how they start. And then once it doesn't work, it goes to attrition. And attrition means things like money, manufacturing, and America does not have manufacturing. We just don't. We cannot resupply. And again, sadly, we've learned nothing from the Ukraine war. Nothing. NATO has completely failed in the Ukraine war. The Ukrainians figured this out. Russians have figured out. Russians already figured out that, you know what? It doesn't make sense to spend $10 million on a missile. I spend $10,000 on a drone. That's way better. I'll make a whole bunch of those. And I'll create an industry to create those now. And I'll shift myself into a war industry so that I can keep doing this. And the Russians now are in war industry. Ukraine doesn't have a great industry, but whatever industry it has is war industry, right? It's not strong. It's not nowhere near as strong as the Russian industry. Obviously, it's a small country, doesn't have as much. But whatever they have, it is war industry. The Chinese have industry in general for everything. They make everything. So for them to shift into drone making is relatively easy compared to other nations, right? So they could do it too. So now what does Iran have? $120 a barrel oil. That's what Russia's got too. Russia got a ton of money now. Ton of money. Thanks, closing Strait of Hormuz. That's great. Ton of money. And where's all the food coming from? Russia and Ukraine. Oh, we can't get that out because of fertilizer? Oh, well, Middle East, get you guys starving. That's what that is right now. So, yeah, that's one thing that's I can see as a big advantage, 100%. So, yes. Miss says, I so hate war. Me too. Me too. It drives me crazy that we're doing this. So, yes. Massonow says, Russian bombs taste the same as Iranian bombs. True. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. All right. Becky says, hi, all. I hardly get her anymore. Let's see the same crew. We haven't left you, Becky. You can come back and say hi whenever you want. It's true. Come back and say hi whenever you like. Absolutely. So, all righty. I think I grabbed that one already. I'm trying to grab as many of these if I can. Michael says, what we need to do is make an army of UAVs. And yes. And I yes, literally those. Look, you will always need some form of boots on the ground. But CAS is now, I don't know, drone support? CAS is close air support. Close air support is a thing of the past. It's drone support now. So if I'm going to have my infantry move forward, I have to have heavy drone support, like heavy drone support. Otherwise, I can't move forward. Once you move up, you're just going to be decimated. The idea of a traditional, and Marines have already figured this out already, the idea of a traditional amphibious assault, those days are gone. If the problem we have in the military now is surprise is almost non-existent, because with satellites and drones and all the technology, we can see troop movements everywhere. So if the Marines are going to invade a beach, they're going to see it coming up, literally days away when it's coming. Well, when it comes, they prepare for the beach and they blow the beach to pieces with drones. So the Marines aren't going to get anywhere. They're going to be slaughtered. So that's not a thing anymore. So you're totally correct. It's definitely a problem. Yeah. I think we have to worry about that, right? And the next piece is, I feel like everybody right now is just like the people aren't even involved. Like, I wonder if the Iranian people even care or have any say in whether they're going to keep the war going or not. Americans, we have no say. Our government just goes to war whenever it wants and stays at war regardless of what we think. Most Americans didn't want the Iraq war. We got it. Most wanted Afghanistan. Most Americans wanted Afghanistan. It's true. Most did not want the Iraq war. Didn't matter. We went there. Most don't want the Iran war. We're going there anyway. They don't care. Russia goes to war. People don't care. Ukraine, people don't. It doesn't matter what people think. But the people, they don't matter. It's almost like we've all become, it's like every country's become like just dictators. Why do I say that? Because we have a UN. a UN supposed to stop that, I would think. But is it? I feel like it kind of hasn't stopped it. There's a place that talks about that. You know what that place is? Yeah, it's civil. Absolutely civil. It's always civil. So yes, they actually have a talking about this idea. They have an interesting piece which I thought was interesting when I saw it, which is the idea that the UN, which should be stopping wars. Remember, the UN is supposed to stop wars. It doesn't, but it's supposed to stop wars. People say it's just a massive club of dictators.
If we freedom fighters do not get united to end dictatorship, dictators will get united to end us and democracy.
On October 3rd, 2022, the Human Rights Foundation held a one-day conference at Town Hall in Midtown Manhattan, bringing together political activists from around the world.
There we go.
Thor Halvorson is the organization's founder and CEO.
And he's talking about the UN not stopping wars, but the UN being a place of dictators that can keep doing wars. The UN's not working. When World War II started, we had a League of Nations. We did. It didn't work. But we had it, and boom, we have it again. So you might go, well, Larry, is this right? Is this true? Well, here's the best part about civil. It'll be a real conversation. They're going to show you both sides, talk about it all, and you can decide, do I buy X? Do I buy Y? Do I buy a little of each? How do I think about it? That's what civil is about. CIVL.com is the place to go. Code is Larry10. Larry, the coolest name on the internet, plus 10% off. Check out civil.com. Every time I do a show, I show you something cool they have, something to check out, something to read, something to watch. It's right here. You can check it out right here at civil.com. Remember, this is upgrading civilization without the conflict machine. You're just chatting, talking, learning. They are a sponsor of the show. Please help them out. Civil.com. See, it's always civil. I know, but it kind of has to be. It's kind of how it is. By the way, click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. If you have not done so, please do so. It does matter. Please go ahead and do so. So yes. Billy Joe says, what if America loses and its economy collapses? Well, generally speaking, America is an empire. And empires can lose wars. In fact, empires generally lose wars. Empires survive on wars, right? Every empire you've ever known is always fighting wars. Always, right? The Russian Empire, when it was an empire, always fighting wars. British Empire, always fighting wars. Roman Empire, always fighting wars. China Empire, always fighting wars. American Empire, always fighting wars. So they always fight wars, and they lose most of them. Who cares? The British Empire lost wars. It lost us. It lost us. British Empire loses wars. They lose wars all the time. We feed. Empires feed on wars. America is an empire. It feeds on war. So no, that doesn't destroy us. Our economy collapses. It'll be pain for us, but we'll bounce back because we tend to bounce back. Now, can we bounce back as strong? Maybe not. That might be an issue. So America could lose this war. We lost Vietnam. I would argue we lost Vietnam. We lost Afghanistan. That's for sure. I say we lost Iraq. People say they haven't, but I disagree. We lost Iraq. We lost Korea. They say it's a draw. No, we lost Korea because it's still North Korea. So we lost all. We haven't won a war, in my view, since 1945. So we've been losing wars for 80 years, and we're still fine. So I don't think that losing a war destroys the country. Oh, it would destroy a country. If you're a country, losing a war destroys you. Ask the Germans. So, but if you're an empire, losing a war is the norm. What are you going to do? Yeah, what are you going to do? You win the wars. You win some, you lose some. What are you going to do? That's how that works. So that's how empires work. So I don't think so. Will the economy return? Only if we have systemic change within our economy. If the loss, assuming we lose, I'm not saying we will lose, but your assumption is we lose. Assuming we lose and the economy collapses, unless we have serious systemic change, we're not going to come back as strong. We'll come back because America is very powerful. We will come back, but not as powerful. We'll be a little bit weaker, right? Unless we have systemic change. And that is my hope. I hope we have systemic change. So that would hope. So yes. Michael goes on to say, drone technology should include tanks, armored cars, and robotic mobilized ground troops. We are already on the armored car piece. The Ukrainians and Russians already have some of those. They do not have drone tanks yet. They have drone ships. But they don't have drone tanks yet. But that's my point. Why are we building new tanks? You're right. Everything should be drones. Why are we building new fighter planes? Insanely stupid. We should not be building any of those. All of this should be done with drones. I completely agree. Yes. Mike says, your theory forgets that Russians hate Iran mutually. Mercy, yes, but not universal. So? That doesn't mean anything. Russians can hate Iran. So? That doesn't matter. They trade with Iranian all the time, with Iran's all the time. They swap technology all the time. Iran's bought tons of weapons off Russia. It doesn't matter. You can hate somebody, but if the cash is good, you still getting the cash. And Russians hate Ukrainians right now in America far more than they hate Iranians. It's not even close. And again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I don't buy that at all. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying it doesn't matter. So yes. All right. Typical watcher says, oops, first question. I don't understand geopolitics that much. I always hear about Iran, but I never thought they were that strong of a nation. Why should we go to war with them in the first place? I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't know why. Look, what I hear all the time is stuff like, they say get to America so we could blow up their schools. I use this joke all the time, and I'll keep saying it. I have decided that the current king of Spain is a usurper. I am the true king of Spain. I am. The current one is usurper. And with that in mind, I pledge that I will go to Spain and take my throne. I say that. I've literally said that he's a usurper. I've said I'm a true king of Spain. I'm going to usurp the throne. That's violence. I just said that. Should the Spanish drone me now? Should they attack me? Should they arrest me? Am I a real threat to Spain? No, none. I am no threat to Spain. I said horrible stuff and shook my fist at them. I did. And? Well, they say get to America. So I just said I'm the real king of Spain. So? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Just because people say stuff, so what? Lots of people say stuff. Doesn't mean we go bomb their schools. It's not the same. That's an excuse people use for violence. There was literally, and Tulsi Gabbard said it, Joe Hunt said it, there was no imminent threat. That's just true. Now, people are going to tell you the opposite thing. They'll go back and forth. It's propaganda. There was no imminent threat. They told you the truth up front. Rubio told you. The threat was Israel was going to attack, and in which case then they would counter-attack and attack us. That was the threat. So the actual threat was our alliance with Israel. That was the threat. But actually, Iran, that was not a threat. It was not a threat. And they're going to tell you they are. It's propaganda. Don't believe it. It's not true. And I said again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope a year from now, they show me the evidence. Look, Iran was getting ready to make a nuke, and they were going to blow us up. And I will happily go, oh, my God, I was wrong. I'm so sorry. I'll have everybody on this show who said that I was wrong. Captain Phils can come on. They can all stand in a line and point the finger at me and tell me how wrong I was. I don't think it's going to happen. I think a year from now, it'll be just like Vietnam, just like Iraq, just like Afghanistan, just like Korea, all the same. Oh, yeah, we thought. No, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And if that makes me cynical, then I'm cynical. I accept being cynical. I don't buy it. When three-letter agencies tell me stuff, whatever. And the funny part is, Democrats or Republicans, they love the three-letter agencies whenever they follow their narrative. So if you're the FBI going after Hillary Clinton and you're a Republican, FBI is great. If you're a Republican after Trump, FBI is bad. If you're a Democrat, reverse is true. Democrats love FBI when going after Trump, hate it when going after Hillary. Right? Going after Hunter Biden, love the FBI if you're a Republican. You're a Democrat, hate the FBI. I never like the FBI. I never like three-letter agencies. Doesn't matter who they're going after. I'm like, no, I don't trust them. I don't trust them ever. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. We'll see what happens. So Rona says, if you view Iran as terrorists, what the hell are we? 1953? Yes. 100%. All righty. My second is unrelated, but I've been looking into the resumption clause in our ratification, and I wanted to know if you had to use it. Would you? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. You got to be clear on whatever you're trying to say. I'm not sure what you mean there. So please be clear on that question. I'm happy to answer it. So Billy Joe says, well, America has provided targeting intelligence data on misdirection in Russia. Yes. True. Phil says, America can't be mad for Russia giving intelligence to Iran the same way the U.S. did Ukraine. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. All righty. Let's see here. Andrew says, I'm banking it won't end until after the midterms. Yeah, and that's not good for Trump. That's not good for Trump. If I'm in the Trump administration, I'm going out of my way to end this thing in the summer. We end this thing in the summer, Trump's a hero. He's a hero. Ended it in the summer. See, we did our thing. We got rid of this. We got rid of that. He's a hero. This goes on to December. He's not. Yes. He's not. So, all righty. Where am I? He's there already. Audrey says, in 2024, Trump will all 10 states with the lowest percentage of college grads. He lost with the highest percentage of college grads. Yes, I think that's true. And the reason is if you look at what's happened to the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party has become the party of educated women. And that's not an insult. That's just who they are. They've become the party of educated women. And so, yes, the more educated you are, the higher chance you're a Democrat. And the more, if you're a woman, the more higher chance you are a Democrat. So it's true. The Democrats used to be the working class party. I mean, this is 40, 50 years ago. Now they're not. Democratic Party now is the party of college elites. It is no longer the party of the working class anymore. It used to be. If you go back 50 years, it was. Not anymore. So, all right. Nosy says, Larry Sharpe for New York Governor 2026. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Yes, if you can, please jump on board, guys. For those of you who care, please jump on board. I need as many signatures as I can get. Let's keep on going if we can. So, yes. All right. Sarah says, how are there any Ukrainians or Palestinians left? How do people sleep at night? How are we still engaging in war in 2025? Yes. We should have stopped a long time ago. I'm with you. Billy goes, America does not have the predictive capacity to maintain this geopolitical conflict. Accurate. We don't have that. Now, I thought that was Trump's idea with the tariff concept of bringing manufacturing back to America. And again, I understand that concept completely. As you've heard me say a bazillion times, and I'll keep saying, his communication was terrible on this. He was not clear. I go back to Milei. I'm a broken record, but I don't care. It made sense. When Milei was trying to fix Argentina, he said, this first year is going to suck. Give me a year, it'll get better. Then give me 1 year again, it'll get better. And it is getting better. And he's still in power. And he's still moving forward. Why? He communicated clearly what to expect to his people. And they said, all right, we're going to trust you because we haven't had anything. Trump did not communicate well. And I still say this, I think because he had such a mandate, he thought, I'm going to do this. The people love me. I got a mandate. I need to do what I want. And that is not how that works. You still got to communicate. And he did not do it well at all. And I think he's paying a heavy price for it. Communication matters. People want to feel a certain way. Politics is also about rhetoric. Politics is also about emotion, not just policy. And I think he failed at that. He's got to do better at that for sure. So Phil says, definitely, especially if we keep going after these wonder weapons, then the U.S. has super complicated and expensive weapons that Germans did during World War II. Yeah. An example, they do this often, the example of the tanks. The German individual tanks, the Panther, the Panzerkampfwagen 5 was the Panther? It was the Tiger. It was the Tiger was the 5, and the Panther was the 6. I think that's correct. The Panzerkampfwagen 6 and 5, or 5 und 6. Those were some of the best tanks in the world, and they took forever to make, and they were well done, and they were great and awesome. And for every one of them you make, the Russians made 12 T-34s. So great. I made one amazing Panther. The Russians made 12 T-34s. So it takes 6 T-34s to blow up one Panther, and I still got 6 T-34s left. So yes, those who don't know, T-34 was one of the main battle tanks of the Russians in the day. The Panzerkampfwagen 4, FIA, was the main battle tank of the Germans throughout most of the war. The Panzerkampfwagen 3 and FIA were the two main battle tanks. 50 millimeter and 75 millimeter guns on both of those. The Panther had a 75 millimeter gun. The Tiger had an 88 millimeter gun, which was special. The 88 millimeter gun was a deadly gun, an absolute deadly gun. The T-34s were 76 millimeter guns. And then later, I think in 44, 43, they made a T-34-85, which was an 85 millimeter gun, that was a knockout tank. That was one of the best tanks in the world. The Panther was the best tank in the world till the 50s, probably. But T-34-85 was pretty good also. Anyway, World War II trivia. Our Sherman tanks were garbage. We made lots of them. We did make a Pershing at the end. Our Pershing tank at the end was pretty good. And we also had a good tank killer. The M10 was a very good tank killer. That was good. In fact, the German tank killer was better than the Stug 3, STG. I forgot what it stands for. I forgot what it stood for. The STG 3 was probably one of the best tank killers the Germans had. And that wasn't even a tank. It was just a self-propelled gun. Anyway, yapping away, World War II history. I know Phil likes that stuff, so I'm sure that makes you feel good, Phil, when I say these things. So, all righty. Let's see here if I can keep moving on. Gene in the house. How are you, Gene? Good to see you. Yes. Lutzka says, I wonder if Trump is crazy to go up against Russia too. I don't think so. No, I don't see it. Danny, I don't see it. I mean, maybe. I don't see it, though. So, yes. Vivek says, is Rubio the favorite to be Trump's successor in 2028 instead of Vance now? I say yes. I told you that. I think that's true. I think Vance is finished. I know, Mike thinks I'm wrong. We're going to find out. Again, Mike, we're going to find out 2028. 2027, we're going to find out, actually. I think Vance is finished. I think he's done. I think that fraud SAR thing was his kiss of death. That was sending out the troubled son out to the provinces for the Roman Empire. Go deal with the provinces. I think Vance is done. I think that's the end. I think Vance is finished. They sent him out to do terrible things. And I think Rubio is now the chosen one. That's what I think. But we'll find out. Again, if I'm wrong, Mike will not let me live it down. So we'll find out if I'm wrong or not. But yeah, I don't see it. Billy Joe goes, Ukraine are Syria to any Western forces and NATO. This has been proven on exercises in the West is outdated. Yes, it's true. Right now, the Ukrainians and Russians have the best trained armies on the planet. Why? Because they're bloodied. There's no better training for war than actual war. And Russians and Ukrainians have been in war. So yes, there is no doubt. There's no doubt they're the best in the world right now because they're the best trained. They're the ones who've been bloodied. They have a backbone of non-commissioned officers. They have an officer corps who've learned the mistakes and errors of tactics both sides have. So yeah, that's why literally the Ukrainians are now training NATO. The reverse has happened. So you're 100% correct. Yes. So Sarah says the New York is sharp. Oh, thank you. Yes. All righty. I'll move down some of those if I can, some more. Phil says the Iranians hitting an F-35 is embarrassing for the U.S. Yes, which is why we shouldn't have any. Yes, we shouldn't have any. Billy says it's 2 F-35s and 3 F. I thought it was 5 F-15s. I thought it was 5 F-15s and 2 refuelers. Yeah. Yeah, they've been knocking around. Yeah, why? Why do we have piloted aircraft? None of these aircraft should be piloted. Why are we piloting aircrafts? No, they should all be drones. So yeah, Mike over on Rumble says being the chosen one doesn't necessarily get you the Republican nomination like it does for Democrats. Being the chosen one doesn't get you the Republican nomination like it does. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, Mike. Yeah, that's correct. Yes, and I'll go back to the same thing. The Trump endorsement in 2028, it matters what happens here in 2026. Again, Trump is rolling the dice and gambling heavily. He is. Whether you like Trump or not, he is gambling. But if his gamble pays off, he's a hero. And if he says Rubio's the guy, Mike, that would mean Rubio's the guy because he's become the hero. If this fails, then it won't, you're right, it won't matter what Trump says. People will decide whatever they want because Trump will have lost his shine. It depends on what happens. The other piece I'm thinking about, right? I see it in politics all the time. Sharks are everywhere. If Trump fails at this war, and I don't know if he will, right now does not look good to me right now, but we'll see. Like I say it again, I'll keep saying it. If anyone can fix it, it is Trump. He's a deal maker. He doesn't care. He can fix things. So if he can fix it, good for him. He'll fix it. If he can't fix it, people are going to see that. They're going to smell the blood in the water, and they're going to turn on him. They're going to turn on him. You're going to watch everyone around start turning on him because they're like, oh, blood in the water. Get him. We want him. It's just politics. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. So Trump has to maintain that strength. If he doesn't, his people will turn on him. We'll see. And not because it's Trump, because it's people. They'll just do it. So yes. So, all right. Michael says, let me guess, 1937, the Japanese invaded China held by Manchuria. The Marco Polo Bridge, yes. But if you remember, they were already there in 1931. But yes, 37 is when they actually, if I remember right, that's when they captured Manchuria and then changed the name to Manchukuo, which I called it Manchukuo because the Japanese called it Manchukuo. But yes, the Chinese called it Manchuria. So yeah, they installed an old emperor and controlled Manchukuo. So yes, that was 37, I think. But they were actually there from 31. That's why I said, is it 31? Probably not. 37 is probably better, Mike. I think you're right. If I was gonna use East Asia as a starting point for World War II, because the Japanese, I think 37 is a better date to use. But someone could argue 31. But I think 37 is a better number. I would agree with you on that if you were asking me. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. D says, AMA, Larry hasn't mentioned Thomas Massey for a bit. Is he in trouble since Trump's rally for Ed? No. I said it all the time. Massey's not a battle Trump should be fighting. Trump, walk away from that one. Just what? It's not worth it at all. As I say all the time, use the wisdom of humongous.
Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
He is correct. The wisdom of humongous, just walk away. And he won't. He keeps going down there. Massey's going to win that. Trump, just walk away. It's not worth fighting. There's other battles to fight. You got other stuff going on. Let it go. Just move. Massey just gets more powerful. The more you attack him, he gets more powerful. I think it's a silly thing that Trump's doing this. I think he shouldn't. He should walk away from this. It's not worth it. He has other things to do. So yes, absolutely. All righty. Let me see if I can go down to some more here. All right. Phil says the F-15s were likely shot down by Kuwait F-16s. Oh yeah, I heard something like that. I'm not sure what it was, but it's still bad. We shouldn't have piloted aircraft anyway. Whatever it is, we shouldn't have it. So yes, I think we should not have that at all. Just have non-piloted aircraft, and then they get shot down. It's bad. We lose an aircraft, but we don't lose a person. So yes. Mike says not World War II. I think he means World War III. Remember my 3 regional wars theory. I agree with you, and that's why I think this is more like a Cold War. I think you're right, Mike. I agree with you. That's why, to me, this seems more like Cold War II versus World War III. I think I remember your theory. I agree, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's Cold War III, Cold War II, not World War III. So yes. Billy John says we are seeing a Western axis led by America regarding the petrodollar. Now facing the BRICS nations, some economic front, other military, they oppose the rule of the petrodollar. That's true. De-dollarization is a thing, but we're not there yet, right? And a lot of people are trying to the dollar is dead. There is de-dollarization happening. That's accurate, but the dollar is not dead. That's not a thing right now. The dollar still is doing just fine relative to other currencies. It still is. It's a reserve currency. It still is. Is it moving towards dollarization? Yes, but it's not tomorrow. Who knows? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? But it's not now. But yes, it is happening. If America does nothing about it, it's going to fail. But I think America is trying. One of the reasons why these wars are happening is to make sure that stuff's bought in a dollar. I think we invaded or knocked off Venezuela, right? To make sure that oil gets sold in dollars. I think that will be a deal that they'll have to make for Iran. I think the deal must be sold in dollars. If you notice, Iran is being very specific. They're saying you can buy all you want. You have to buy it in yuan. Japanese, but Japanese yuan, yuan, yes. In Chinese, sorry, in Chinese yuan, you have to buy it in Chinese yuan, and then you can buy it, but only in Chinese money. And they're doing it on purpose, right? To put a stick in the eye of America. That's why they're doing it. So America will have to make some kind of deal and say, no. We'll end this war. All your stuff's being bought in dollars. All in dollars to keep the petrodollar going. So yes, there it is happening, but it isn't anywhere near as bad as people would say. So yes. Mass Manau says, some would say we're the junior partner in Israel. God, I hope that's not true. So yeah, but I have heard that. I have heard that. A lot of people are saying that. But I don't know. Americans getting poorer. Yes, the wealth gap is getting worse. I agree. It's the worst in New York State. And the problem is, as the wealth gap grows, the people on the bottom keep begging for socialism. They beg for it. So yeah, they absolutely beg for it. So yeah. All right. Mike over on Rumble says, what I mostly meant, though, is that the Republican presidential primary is more Democratic than the Democratic one. At least it used to be. I think you're right. And that's my point. If Trump becomes a hero this summer, I think his word will sway them, is my point. But I think you're right, Mike. The Republicans don't have the same like superdelegate thing. You're right. They're far more Democratic than the Democrats are. And they actually had a primary. The Democrats didn't. So I think you're right. They are more. It's true. I just think if Trump's a hero, his word is going to be very strong. If he fails and he's still at war, it doesn't work. Think like, who cares about Trump? They're going to move on. The knives are going to come out. The people are going to stab him in the back. And they're going to be like, whatever, we'll take it. You saw it happen on Democratic side here in New York. When Hochul looked weak, Delgado jumped out and said, I'm going to stab her in the back. It didn't work, right? She negotiated. Hochul negotiated very well with Mamdani and navigated the whole thing great and got rid of Delgado. He wasn't anywhere near as savvy as he thought. But again, the knife came out. If Trump fails or looks like he's failing, the knives will come out for him too. And again, it's not because Republicans, Democrats, it's because politics. This is how it works. So, yeah. All righty. Bronna says, I know we discussed hot versus Cold War a few weeks ago, but I believe whether hot or cold, we have been in World War III since pre-9/11 with information that I'm not sure. We come up with all types of things. I'm not sure. Mastermind says, I will not let my 7-year-old son die for this. I would definitely leave if given the alternative. And we're seeing that everywhere, sadly, right, Mastermind? And I think this really began in Vietnam. Vietnam was the last war where our elites would send their children to die. And it used to be in America that if you were part of the elite families, many of those families were very wealthy and had many children, you would always send one of your sons off to war when there was a war. That was a thing that you just did to show that you were aristocracy, that you would die for your country, and you send one of your kids off to World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. After Vietnam, nope. The wealthy don't send their kids to war anymore. They stopped that because they finally figured out, these wars our kids aren't dying for this. You see that happen. The wealthy don't do it anymore. So it's completely changed. So yeah, it completely changed. That's why some people want to draft. I understand the logic. I'm not a fan of a draft, but I understand the logic completely. So Phil, thank you for the membership. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. All righty. Where am I here? Andrew says, there's been talk that Trump wants to eliminate taxes for anyone making less than $50,000 a year. Must be another dune boggle, but it could give him an inch if enough people are on board. I agree. I would love something like that. I hope Trump does that. That'd be great. Yes, please. I hope you're right. Yes, please. Yes. All righty. Let's see where I am. Let's see here. Billy Joe says, and Russia won in 45. Oh, okay. Fight the Russians. Yes, but the Russians were only really beaten in history twice. By Mongols and by Germans. World War I, the Germans beat the Russians. And the Mongols beat them, in the 13th century? 12th century? In that area. So twice. Is it 12th century? Someone I'm sure will correct me. Yes, but in those only two times Russia really was beaten. It's those two. So Germans, though. So there we go. All righty. Let me keep this one here. Phil says, Russia won in 45 with American weapons. Actually, with American money and with American trucks. The vast majority of weapons were not American. The vehicles were. A lot of the trucks were actually Studebakers. There were a lot of American vehicles, trucks, Jeeps, things like that. A lot of American cash, but most of the weapons were actually Russian made. Most were. And one of the reasons is there wasn't a NATO idea to where they were all the same, right? So some of the munitions could work. The Americans, almost everything the Americans had was 75 millimeter. That was a big deal. We had cannons that was 75 millimeter, tanks 75 millimeter. Russians had 76 millimeter. So it's off by 76 millimeters, 85 millimeters, 100 millimeters, and 122 millimeters, 155 millimeters. So how do you use those together? It's very challenging to use those together, right? The SU-100 and the SU-122 were tank killers. The T-34 series was all 76 millimeter guns. Some of the other ones, KVs were all 85s. So you can't mix and match those munitions. Most of the tank killers, the Russians had like 40 or 50 millimeter guns. They were actually small. Tank killers, most of the tank killers, meaning their field guns, were actually smaller. So didn't really work. Americans had like 75 millimeter tank field guns. So yeah, it was a different issue. So most of the weapons were actually Russian. A lot of the vehicles were American, like trucks and tanks, trucks and Jeeps, stuff like that. Tires, cash, a lot of that was. And almost all the weapons were also the AKs, right? Those types. The ones with the barrels, what were they called? Not Kalashnikovs. Forgot the name of the one with the barrel. The Germans would actually use those weapons sometimes. The Germans would actually capture Russian weapons and use some of them on the Russian front because they were better than some of the German weapons. The German rifles weren't that great. The German assault rifles were very good. The German rifles were mediocre. They would often capture Russian weapons and use them. So anyway, again, I'm doing my whole thing. So yes. Adirondack says, yesterday I heard a radio talk show guy mention we're all waiting for Blake Minnesota's campaign. No excitement, whatever. I know. Yes. 100%. I know. So Bronna says, matter of respect for Missy, feeling ill and still a true proponent of the show. Missy never stops. Missy is my ride or die. Missy's been with me straight for like 8 years. She never leaves. She's always there. She is the best. She's amazing. She's awesome. She's all that. Yes, absolutely. Mike says, of course I'll do that. I'm right. Of course Mike would. Yes, he would. There's no doubt. Mike will come on and rub it. Yes, he will. Yes, it's true. It's fine. I'm fine. I hope you will, Mike. I'm serious. I hope I'm wrong. And I'm not joking. I hope you are so right. And you were like, told you so, Larry. Told you. You got your big old finger in my face. I hope you do that. That'd be amazing. I hope so. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. It's the idea of our national security and foreign policy being honest by our three-letter agencies. I just can't imagine. But I know I might think that. But the question is, do you think that, right? And how can you show that you do think that or not? You can go to the advocates, take the national security and foreign policy test. Thank you, Mike, for that segue. So yes, you can just do that easily. Click the link that is literally in the description, says link to the advocates. Head over to the Advocates for Self-Government and take the national security and foreign policy test and see where you stand. What do you think about it? Perfect timing to take it. Perfect timing because we're at war with Iran now, or are we at war, whatever. We're fighting the Iranians, whatever we're doing right now. So take that test right now. Take that. And then here's the most important part. Once you take it, share it. It's free. They are a sponsor of the show. Help me out. Go there. Take the test, right? We'll take the survey. And once you're done, share it. That's what matters. Share it. I want more people coming to the Advocate for Self-Government. The more that come, the more people realize, wait, there are ways to govern ourselves without government. We can govern ourselves. Yes, we can. And government is not always the answer. No, it's not. How do we figure this out? By coming to the advocates, seeing what they're talking about, reading their articles, taking their surveys, checking their videos out. Do that. The Advocates for Self-Government. This is an important piece. They're a sponsor of the show. Please support them. Take the tests and then share them. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. So yeah, it does matter. It is important. I hope you guys will do that. Let me walk down some more. I'm trying to get as many questions as I can. It is very tough to grab all these if I can. All right. Bronna says, all this Afro Man taught me I just want to get high. Yes, I love Afro Man. For those who don't know, I actually interviewed him 2 years ago. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago at Freedom Fest about this whole thing. Like I did debrief on it. So if you want to see the story, Google Larry Sharpe Afro Man, you'll see I did an interview with him on it. It was kind of cool. So yeah, he's a savvy guy. I like him. So yes. Gene says, wars have never been fought for the reason the governments give. People need a good reason to risk their lives, so they're given a reason. A made up, plausible reason, but still a reason. Or should I say excuse? I agree with you. Yes. I completely agree. I think it's true. Look, again, hope I'm wrong. I don't see it. They've been wrong every single time. I cannot see it. So there we go. All righty. Matchman Hour says, I don't think Sun Tzu would have agreed with the police department on suing Afroman. True. Yes. All righty. Gene says, someone saw my libertarian bumper stickers and said I have names of crazy people in my car. I said, we don't trust government. That is $36 trillion in debt and hasn't followed the Constitution for 75 years. And we're the crazy ones. True. Yes. True. Absolutely. So, all righty. Mike has bad knees. $5. Thank you for that, my friend. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can go down here again. You guys are going back and forth. I appreciate the going back with each other. I love that. It's so funny. You guys talk to each other sometimes more than you talk to me. I'm not mad. It's awesome. I love it. Nuna says, Larry, I'm hate this warmongering, rabble-rousing, however, no sympathy for the Iranian regime. True. I agree with you. IRGC have been supplying Russia Shahed drones to level Ukrainian cities. I'm with you. I'm not mad at the idea that the Iranian regime falls. I'm not mad at that. Why would you be happy that they're? I'm not mad at that. I just don't believe what they're telling us. I would rather them be honest. That's my point. And I'd rather them one, be honest, and two, have the declaration of war. Why? And this may sound crazy, but I think it's the right answer. Go to the American people in Congress, go, hey, the Iranian regime is a bad regime. It's going to help us out by taking them out by doing X, Y, and Z. We have to get rid of the regime. And it may cost lives, it may cost X, it may cost Y. But since I'm going to ask you to send your sons and daughters to go off there and fight and maybe die, I'm going to the Congress and I want an act of war. I'm sorry, I want a declaration of war against the regime of Iran, and we want to fight them until they're gone. Now, know what I said? The regime of Iran. You can do that. You don't have to declare war against a country. We declared war against the Barbary pirates. That's true, which is not a country. We could have declared war against ISIS, which is probably would have been a good idea, or against whatever. But we did a randomized authorization, use of force. No. Declare war against the regime. Get Congress to say yes, which means now Congress has to fund it because they said yes. Now the people are behind it. And if someone says it's wrong, Congress gets to, hey, why'd you say it? Now you have to have an answer. This is the way to do it. Say it. Tell the truth. If that's the issue, say it. Go to Congress. Right now, Congress has every right to go, I'm not paying for it. Why? They never voted. Now, you may disagree with them, but they have every right to go, no, I'm not paying for it. I didn't vote for it. You going to war, I didn't say something. Now, you make them vote for it, they got to pay for it. You said yes to it. Write me a check. You could have said no. You said yes, write me a check. But they didn't. This was the wrong way. I know it sounds like I'm doing the old, well, if they would. Yeah, but the problem is, if you got a real reason, if you're right, then they should have done this way. That's my issue. So, yes. Michael says, Marines are not going to land on beaches unless there's heavy drone artillery and ship missile support. Air support tends to be effective if backed with heavy artillery support, robot tanks. Agreed. And then we don't have any of that right now. You're right. We're not there yet. Yes. We're not there yet. So, yes. All right. Andrew says, giving the precursor of a one world government more power to intervene in different countries, what could go wrong? Yes. You're not wrong. K. John says, listening to Du Hast and puffing some Iris. Nice. But you know, Du Hast is a song by Rammstein, which is a German, maybe metal band. Maybe are they metal? Maybe I don't know if you call them that. So yeah, and Du Hast has two meanings. It means you have and also you hate. Interesting song. Nice choice, K. John. It means both you have and you hate. Du Hast, both. So. Brana Du Hast. Yes, you the bomb, Kate. She knows also. Absolutely. And sometimes the weird things that I talk about, I know they're kind of weird sometimes. I know, but I hope at least it's interesting. We says military industrial complex cannot be stopped or become efficient. Why would it be? Why would it be? There's no need for it to be. It's supposed to be inefficient. It's supposed to just make money. Its goal is to make money. Right? Its goal is to make money. Yes. So goes on to say, getting your news from foreign sources and from Americans living abroad are saying Iran is winning. Really? Okay. I guess if if you could spin it that way, I could see it being spun. If you say you're spinning it in a way that, well, because they haven't lost, because America is so big and they haven't surrendered, it's a spin. It's a stretch. But to say they're winning, I'm not sure I would go there. I don't think winning is correct. Could you say they haven't lost? Yes, I think you could say that. They haven't lost. True. But I don't think they're winning. I can't see. I mean, I don't see that at all. I don't see them winning. I don't see them winning at all. Unless again, you're spinning and saying, well, because America is so huge and big and strong, that because they haven't surrendered yet, that is a win. I could see that's good propaganda. That's good spin. But I don't think they're winning right now at all. At all. They're getting hammered. Iran's getting hammered. We're getting hit too. Like, we're not slaughtering them, but they're getting hammered right now. They're not winning. They're not winning this war at this moment. Now, might things change? Maybe. The advantage they have, though, and this is why I can see the spin, they don't have to win. They have to not lose. Right? They have to not lose. That's it. Gracie says, Larry, you should be governor of New York on your energy policies alone. New York would not need foreign oil if they had a nuclear power plant running state. True, America would, because we keep doing it. It will go everywhere. Yes, it will go everywhere. It totally would. So, and this is Blake Femboy. What I've heard, which I thought was funny, is that a Blakeman, Fakeman. I thought that one was funny. That one I thought was funny. Fakeman. I thought that was good. So yes. All right. Where am I? Let me walk down this road. Gracie goes on to say, rise of neocons. The Bushes never went away. They got stronger. I was wrong about DC being tired of war. I know. Yes. At 3 of the ACs, Fox and ABC, NBC. Those two, yes. I meant CIA, NSA is what I meant. But those two, yes. All of them. Yes. Yes. Those two. Yes. That's funny. Dominic says, I hate the surveillance state. Yeah, and it's always for security. It's always for security. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Will Trump get impeached for war crimes, and should he? I'm going to walk down what I think this piece is about impeachment. If Trump is able, I think this war is critical. The war was a big gamble, but again, if it pays off, it's going to make him safe. If he's able to have a peace deal this summer that makes a safe regime for America and Iran, and it looks like the Iranian people are satisfied with it, and America didn't lose too many people, and it happens, he's going to be a hero. It's a gamble, but if it pays off, it's a huge payoff. If that happens, he will not be impeached, because the Republicans are going to hold the Senate for sure. If that happens, no doubt, 100%, they'll hold the Senate. They won't take that much of a bath if they even get harmed that much in the House. The sentiment will not be against Trump at that point, because he'll be off the war victory. So I think if he does that, it's a gamble. If he does it, I think he wouldn't be impeached. If it fails and the war's still going on and the Democrats trash the Republicans in the upcoming election, if that happens, he'll be impeached, assuming one thing. He'll be impeached if the Democrats believe they can remove him. Now, that's going to be a challenge to read. But is it possible? Yes. Let me explain this scenario where that would be possible. If the war is still going on next year and Americans are still dying next year and the Republicans got trounced in the 2026, if all those things are happening, then the sharks will have come out, the knives will have come out, and the Republicans will be stabbing Trump in the back, left and right. If doing a lot of lifting in this sentence. So if all those things are happening, the Republicans will stab him in the back, all vying for power. So at least 2 or 3 of them will turn on him and will be able to remove him. If Democrats think they can remove him, they will impeach him and remove him. And he might end it before that, or Republicans might do something else. Republicans might use, again, if the knives come out, they might use 25th Amendment to avoid impeachment. Yes. But again, all those things have to come together to be true, right? And will they? I don't know. But again, assuming the war is still going on, Americans are still being killed, and the Republicans get trashed in the 26th election coming up here, if all those things happen, and then next year the war's still going on and Americans are still dying, and if that's true, then Trump is in big trouble, and he will either resign on his own, get impeached and removed, or use 25th Amendment to end the whole thing, assuming all this are true. If it just goes regular, like normally happens, and the Republicans lose some seats, if that's the norm, if the norm happens, the Democrats will talk all kind of trash about impeachment. They will try to have a couple of what are those press conferences and hearings and such, so they can make money for their for fundraising and such, but they will not impeach him, because they're not going to impeach him unless they think they can remove him. What are you going to impeach him 3 times for? What? Now he looks looking stupid. Now looking stupid. The Democrats are not going to impeach him unless they believe they can remove him, and they're only going to believe they can remove him is if the Republican knives come out. And if Trump keeps the Republican people in line and they don't come out, they have no chance. You have to have Republicans turn on him. That's not happening yet. Right now, Trump still has Republican Party. They still love him. So that has not happened. So all of those things would have to come into play. If they all did, then yes. Otherwise, no. I don't see it. So no. Mike says, if you hold Trump to the standard of all previous presidents, then no, he shouldn't be impeached. Not wrong. Other presidents are also doing it too. They're all doing this stuff. So yes. So, all righty. Let's see here. Gracie says, Massey's running a lot of great ads in his district, which is across the river from me. We so need more of him, and you look low. Thank you. Hawks are winning, and Dems love to bomb. Yes, see Libya. Yes, bomb. Yes, I agree. Look, no. Warmongers are in both parties. That's true. One of the reasons why people were supporting Trump so much in 2024 is they thought Republicans were less of a war party. So yeah, they're both 100%. 100%. So yes, I agree with you. All right, if I can grab some more of these. Gracie says, let's see. She goes on to say, my heart sunk when I heard that MEU being sent to Iran. MEU, by the way, is Marine Expeditionary Unit, is Marines. Got sick. More Ancient Marines. I can't even, Larry, you get it. Please keep fighting. Yes. Sarah says, Larry, after you retire from Emperor of the Universe in 2128, can you please tell us what happened to Trump's coalition/cabinet? Don't tell us now since you're running, but yeah. No, I said it before and I'll keep saying it. Trump should be working on that coalition. I think it's a mistake for him not to work on a coalition. The coalition is the answer. It kept him in power. He's got to get back and work on it. He's working on some other. He's rolling the dice. Look, the guy's a gambler. If come summer it pays off, he's right. It worked. Well done. If it doesn't work, he's going to be in real trouble if it doesn't work. But he wanted to gamble. He did. We'll see if he's right. So yes. All righty. D says, let's get Larry to talk about Chuck Norris movies. I know I'm goofy, but I love Sidekicks, probably because I was bullied in school. Yeah, the first time I saw Chuck Norris actually was in a movie theater. I mean, I didn't see him in person, but I saw him in a movie theater. I'm in the 70s. What was the name of the movie when he was with Bruce Lee? He's fighting Bruce Lee. Was it Game of Death? I think it was Game of Death. Maybe. I forgot. But anyway, it wasn't Enter the Dragon, because he wasn't in that in Enter the Dragon. That's when I first saw him. So yeah. That's my first time I saw Chuck Norris when he was fighting Bruce Lee. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. IM says, rip Chuck Norris. Yeah, I agree. Gracie goes, did you hear Empress Kathy whine about the multimillionaires living in Florida? She was begging for donations from the elites who are still in Bedford and the Lower East Side. Yeah, look, the reality is people do leave. It is a real thing. They try to ignore it. The Democrats act like it is. Democratic propaganda is always the same. They love New York. The rich don't leave. Utterly propaganda. Democratic propaganda, not true at all. It is obviously clear. Even Kathy Hochul goes to admit it now. They're leaving. It's. I've been saying it for 8 years, and Democrats have been lying about it for 8 years. I'm sorry, giving me propaganda, right, for all those years. But it's absolutely true. The Democratic establishment has been pushing out the wealthy out of New York State for years, and they've been trying to act like they haven't. It's utter propaganda. It's absolutely true. They're leaving. Yes. All right, if I can grab some more of these, if I can. All righty. Massimow says, have you heard the theory that Humongous is actually Goose from the first Road Warrior? I did not. Is that true? Oh, is that like what? Do you know who wrote that? If they wrote that in, or is that canon, or just people who think? Maybe. It's funny. I didn't see the first one, which is called Mad Max. The first Road Warrior movie was called Mad Max, and I didn't see that until after I saw the Road Warrior, because the Road Warrior was more popular. So I saw that one first. Then I saw Mad Max afterwards. So yeah, maybe I didn't know that. I don't know if that's canon or not. I'm gonna look it up. You make me think I'm gonna look it up. So yes. Sarah says, what movie is Humongous from? That is saving me lately. I'm walking away from a lot of lost battles, hoping to win the war. Well, yes, the name of the movie was The Road Warrior. Mad Max was these Australians. This is really kind of where it's kind of where Mel Gibson started his real career. Really was in that series. The first movie was a movie called Mad Max, and it was about the kind of like a cop in the end, like after the end times, he loses his family and he becomes a road warrior because his name is Max. He goes mad, meaning crazy, right? He goes mad because he loses his entire family. You know, the bad guys kill his family and such in the first movie, and he goes nuts. And so he gets on the road and becomes a road warrior, which the second movie is called The Road Warrior. Then the third one goes Mad Max 3, and then it was 4. Was it 3 and 4? 3 and 4, right? Yeah. It was 3 and 4. And then they made the new Mad Max movies, which whatever. They were Australian movies, by the way. So yes. All right. So if I can go here. Yeah, Phil says Mad Max 2. But yes, it was Mad Max 2 in Australia. It was called in America The Road Warrior. That's what it was called in America. But yes, that is true. All right. Hold on. Where am I? Typical says, I'd rather we draft New Yorkers to defend New York than attack a foreign country. True. I'm with you. Yep. D says, some people think that Larry's member shows are from members only, but it's for everybody to watch. Members. Yes, I haven't done it in a while because of the campaign. I apologize, because I used to do it every 2 months. I used to do it. I do a show where everyone can watch, but I invite members to come on the show and join me as guests. So if you're a member, you can come on if you want, not required. You can if you want to. And many people have come on. So I appreciate that. People get now to see the face of the person they're chatting in the chat. So it gives people in the chat, they can see the face of the people who they're chatting with. That's what I'm doing. I was hoping that would keep people together. So yes. Phil says the Japanese might have beaten the Russians in World War I. In World War I? They were on the same side in World War I. Weren't they? They were on the same side. I don't know why they would have beaten them in World War I. I mean, could they have? But they had just fought them 10 years earlier. Oh, well, 15 years earlier. They just fought them. And they fought them to what most would call a draw. The problem in the Russo-Japanese War was that the Russians weren't going to quit. They were just going to keep throwing stuff at the Japanese. The Japanese were already in trouble. Like the Japanese didn't have the bodies, and nor worse, they didn't have the tactics. Remember, the Japanese had they were relatively a new military when it came to modern military. The Meiji Restoration happened in 1868. 1868 was the Meiji Restoration. And at that point, they literally still had samurai with swords. I'm not joking. They had a samurai class still. So it was only at that point 40 years into a modern military. Firearm. They had firearms for many years. They had firearms in the 13 or 1400s. So they had firearms for a long time, maybe the 1400s, maybe give or take. They've had maybe 1500s, maybe. But they had firearms for a long time. But this was like muskets and things like that. But they weren't a modern military. So like they still were fixing bayonets and charging machine guns. So it was a horrible, bloody war. Interesting story about that. When the Japanese foreign minister negotiated the peace with the Russians, it was not a really good terms. The Russians didn't want to accept defeat. So when the Japanese tried to get things like reparations for the war and things like that, and accepting defeat, the Russians were like, no. The Japanese said, well, then you have to because you've lost. The Russians said, we'll keep fighting then. Nope, no peace. Back to war. The Japanese like, no. Just kidding. Just kidding. I got jokes, Russians. I got jokes. I'm kidding. And then accepted the peace. The foreign minister came back. People were so unhappy. They killed him. So, yeah. Interesting story. So, hope you enjoy that piece. So, all righty. Let's see if I can grab a couple more of these. Okay. I love you guys going back and forth with each other. That's the best part. I love that part so much. So, Phil, we're clipping that up. What are you clipping up? Was that good? I don't know, whatever that was. Was it good? Oh, the Freedom Fest thing. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yes. Good. Okay. There we go. I'm glad you're flipping it up. K. John says, Larry, we're all waiting for you to compound so we can all live together and help you run the state, then the country. I'm in. I am so in. Yes. Absolutely. There we go. Crazy says, 2 theological governments are fighting in a holy war and want to drag us into it. Sadly, you are correct. I wish that wasn't true. Yes. I think that's right. All right. Mike says, yes, Rammstein is metal. That's what I thought, right? You call the metal? I agree with you, Mike. I think it's metal. That's what I would think. I mean, you could say some of their music is maybe not metal, is something else, but I think you'd say metal will be, probably the best bet. So, yeah. All right. Typical says, although we can have Congress vote to go to war, do not believe Congress should have the power for the draft. Only states should decide if they allow it. I agree. I don't like the draft at all. I can't stand it. But going to war is a congressional power, and we should challenge them to that, right? Of course we should. I agree completely. We should challenge them to it. Yes. So Phil says, Russia's still licking wounds of the Russo-Japanese war. I'm not sure that's true, but yes. Sarah says, best thing to come out of our Jr.'s campaign was finding Larry and the Sharpies. Oh, we need Maha to get behind that. Yes, Maha has abandoned me, sadly. They have abandoned me, Sarah. If you know Maha people, please shame them because they're not supporting me at all. They were like, Larry, you were great. You helped us with RFK Jr. Oh, now you need us? You know what? No. So, yes, if you know them, please shame them because they are absolutely just ignoring me. When I need them most, they're ignoring me. That's what's happening right now, which is sadly the way that politics often works. The backstab is the norm. I wish it wasn't. But yes, the backstab is the norm. Yes. All right. Mike says, no major credible international media has said U.S. is losing to Iran. None. I agree. I cannot see that being true, Mike. I think that's right. Yeah. Again, could you spin it to say because they haven't surrendered yet, that is by default a win? It's a good spin. It's good propaganda, but it's not real. I mean, Iran is not winning this war at the moment. It could change. You never know. America could walk away or whatever, but at this moment, Iran is absolutely not winning this war. They're totally losing this war right now. So yes. Phil says, tactically, Iran doesn't need to win a single battle. They're fighting against Hannibal right now and all of our elephants. There aren't any battles to win right now. The question is, how long can they hold out? Right? They're being hammered. How long can they hold out? Again, I said, if I am China, I am going to give Iran just enough to hold on to push this out as long as possible to punish America if I was China. That's what I do if I was China. Now, will they do it? I think we'll find out. But that's what I would do. If it was me, I would totally do that. There's no doubt. I mean, that makes the most sense. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Is if Larry did Maddie's amp ever get? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Logica says Trump also has been mixing things up lately, perhaps 25th. I think they would only do it again. I think the 25th is possible. Yes, but again, only in specific things. If everything I said happens, if all those things fail, all of them fail, and then the Republicans there think he might get impeached and removed, they might do it to avoid the impeachment and removal. That's possible. But I think that's the only way it'll happen. Only if all those things happen, then I could see it. But otherwise, I don't see it. I don't see it. Mastermind says Trump will quit for health. This is a thing going around. I'm seeing this, Mastermind. I don't know where this is coming from. but I'm seeing it too. I've seen this rumor more than once on the internet, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. I have seen this rumor multiple times that Trump's gonna, if he loses the elections in 2026, he's gonna say health reasons and quit. He's gonna step down. I've been hearing this. I don't know where it's coming from. My gut says that's wishful thinking and that's Democratic propaganda. That's my gut. But look, maybe I don't know some, but that does not seem like a real thing to me. And maybe, unless the knives come out. And my knives, what I'm saying, by the way, FBI, is figurative knives, not real, figuratively. If the political knives come out, if they think, like, say, again, I don't know, I have no information on this. This is just speculation here, and just talking trash. If they all knew that Iran has some superpower we don't know about, and they're gonna win the war or something, I'm totally pulling this out of thin air. If that were the case, and then the people around that, oh my God, we're gonna lose this war or whatever. If that were to happen, then maybe the knives might come out. They get rid of Trump and then end the war and blame Trump. Possible. And then get rid of, 25th Amendment him. But for that to happen, there's so much other stuff that has to come into play. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's really, really unlikely. A lot of stuff would have to happen for that to happen. A lot of things. And I think we'd see it like it would be obvious as for these things to happen, they don't happen overnight. So we'd see all these things begin to happen. Like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Right. So yeah, I get it. All right. Kate says Trump will croak. We'll get AI Trump with 6 fingers. I don't think that's true, but that's actually funny. I like that. That's funny. But look, I said before, this is the time for the knives to come out for both Bibi, again, figuratively, and Trump. Things are not going well right now domestically for either of them. And they're only keeping their base, or their coalitions are starting to fall. This is the right time to get rid of them if you're an enemy, right? This is the right time. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see. So Robert says, I don't want to point out that all this money we're spending on war completely undermines the pushback against reparations. The government's very efficient at finding money where it wants to. You're not wrong. Not just reparations, anything else. This is the problem, right? We absolutely try right now to say things like, well, we can't afford socialism, but we can afford the wars. We can't afford Medicare for all. We can afford the wars. We are giving the socialists ammunition. You're totally right. We're giving them ammunition. Absolutely. Yes. So Mike says, real clear politics right now, average national poll of the direction of America is higher than almost all from Biden, Obama, and Clinton. Public support is still with Trump and MAGA right now. Average national poll of direction of America is higher than almost all direction. What do you mean? Is America on the right direction? Is that what you're saying, Mike? I'm not sure what that means. Public support is not behind Trump. That's absolutely not true. If you're using just the right direction, then that will mean you're saying compared to Democrats. And here's the spin on this you have to understand. Just because Americans don't like Democrats doesn't mean that just because Americans don't like them doesn't mean they like Republicans. Right now, Americans are backing away from both parties and becoming independent. People who don't like Democrats aren't becoming Republicans. People who don't like Republicans aren't becoming Democrats. They're becoming nothing. They're walking away. So if you look at the national average on Trump, not on MAGA, MAGA people still like Trump. They call themselves MAGA. They do. I've never, but America, oh, no, Trump's underwater. Trump's underwater when it comes to America in general. If you're looking just for direction of America, meaning they don't like Democrats, yeah, many Americans prefer Republicans than Democrats. That's true. Doesn't mean they like Trump. Trump as an individual is not doing well. And across America, he's not doing well relative to other things. So yes. Return of the Dragon. Thank you. It wasn't Enter the Dragon. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. The Way of the Dragon? Which one is it? I don't know. The Octagon was good. Yes, I enjoyed that one also. Yes. Was it Return of the Dragon? I don't remember. Now I'm going to remember which one it was. I'm not sure where it was. All right. Gracie says, Ohio GOPs were independent. Yes. It's true. Look, to be clear, Mike is correct when it comes to Republicans. Republicans still like Trump. That's true. He has not lost Republicans. he has lost a lot of independents and all Democrats. I mean, any blue dog Democrat that used to go Trump, they're gone. He's lost all Democrats. And he's lost most independents that he has. His coalition is falling apart. And I know Republicans don't want to hear that. It's true. I've been saying it for months. I've been watching it for months. I cross this state. I talk to people. I know people across the state. His coalition's falling apart. It has been for months. And he's gambling that this victory in Iran will bring it back. And to be forward, it might. If he does the great victory and he does the mission accomplished, they'll all come back to him. They will. That he's not wrong. But it's a gamble, so I'm saying. If he doesn't, he's going to be stuck with only Republicans. And if he's stuck with only Republicans, that's not enough to win the House back. It's not. He'll keep his normal Republicans. He'll keep those seats. It's not like all of a sudden it's going to be like, whatever, 75 plus Democrats. That's not a thing, right? It's not going to happen. He'll still keep his Republicans, but he's not going to get the rest of them. And that's not good enough. That's the issue. So, yes. Robert says, what can China do to make sure Iran doesn't surrender? Didn't China just have a video of a bunch of robots doing martial arts? What China can do is send them a bunch of drones. Just send them a bunch of drones. And do some form of lend-lease or some kind of loan based upon future oil sales. That's what it is. That's how they do it. They'll send them like 1 million drones or whatever the number is. So a bunch. That's what they'll do. So yeah, that's how they can help out. More drones. That's the issue. So yes. All right. Let's see here. I remember Delta Force. That was good too. Yes. Also good. I like that one too. Mike says Mad Max was phenomenal, low budget, and blows away all. I agree. It was a sleeper, and it was great compared to what it was. So yes. Patty says saw it in the theaters. Me too. Yes. D says I had a fun time on a member show. Yes, it is fun coming out with the members. It absolutely is. 100% true. Yes. Phil says the Russo-Japanese war created a lot of instability inside Russia. That's true. You're not wrong on that. It did. It was one of the reasons why there was a problem in 1914. It's one of the reasons why Nicholas II wanted to fight World War I. He wanted to get back from his loss. You're right. There was some of that. I agree. It's a good point. I would agree. Yes. All right. Hold on. Are you sending me videos? Hold on. Let me look at this. Hold on here. Did you send me videos? Where? I don't see him, Phil. If you send me videos, I must have missed them. Did you send them via text? I didn't see them. I apologize. Thank you, but I didn't see the videos. I don't see them. So Borna said, I've heard health reasons as well. See, I've heard it too. I've heard this rumor everywhere. Look, is it possible that it's real? I guess, but that to me sounds like Democratic propaganda. That's what it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like Democratic propaganda to me. That's what it sounds like wishful thinking, right? They want him to go, so he'll do it, and to make them feel, yeah, see, Trump's on his way out. That's how I feel. But I guess we'll find out. So Cajun says, Larry, my boyfriend said that if Trump runs again, that will allow Obama as well. Yeah, you know what? That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Trump versus Obama, be amazing. Hope and change versus make America great again. Battle of the Titans. Battle of the Titans. It's true. That'd be crazy. Yes. Nuno Clip says, Larry agreed Trump admin should provide better explanation. Yes. There's difference between Iraq, and Iran. Yes. Iraqis never asked for help. Iranians on the ground do. I agree with you, right? And I've said this many times. Mike gets mad at me when I say it because I think I'm right in this one. Trump's communication was not good. And I think the issue is, I still believe he thought he didn't have to. And it was a mistake. He really should have. So yes, I think he really should have. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Let's see. Robert says one of the guys who was deposed said he left $250,000 a year, $250,000 job a year job, so he could wreck people's lives for half what he was making. Damn. Then he said he would have done it for free because he already had wealth. Wow. That's horrible. That's terrible. We got some bad people in there. Wow. Okay. There we go. Brona says, this has been a great episode. I appreciate it. I just started talking trash in these episodes to the best of my ability. So yes. Backyard Bane says that would show it's nothing but a uniparty, Trump versus Obama. Ooh, good point. But it still would be amazing. It still would be amazing. So, yeah. Brona says, damn it, Missy and engaged boyfriends can't get a break. Look, men see the hotties and jump on them. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Men see the hotties and jump on them. It's not their fault. Yes. It's not their fault. So, yes. Chrissy says, who abandoned you? Was it the influencers? Was it the people helping Maha? I need to know who to shame. All the people who wrote all the checks. They're not writing me checks. That's who it is. The people who are supposed to be writing checks, they're not writing me checks. I'm the one there working to make this happen. I'm the one who needs the cash to move this forward. I'm the one who wanted to put together with the People Party. I'm going to try all this stuff. And they're like, no. They're like, no. Andrea says, Obama versus Trump, the trash talk will be popcorn. That's true. So much trash talk. That's true. So much trash talk. I think that will be a great part right there. Absolutely. Yes. Bronner, hold on, Mike. Don't worry, Bronner. I'm sure there's a boyfriend there. Oh, so someone's messing with you. Thanks, Mike. Bronner, my boyfriend 22 is younger than me. So you got to be younger to win out. See that? She's not playing games. And the weird part is, Kay John is actually doing something illegal because Kay John's only 29. So she's doing something illegal. So, yes, that's all. There we go. That's all. So Ingrid says, do you think the current Iranian supreme leader is going to survive his wounds? If he does, what will happen? If he doesn't survive, you predict what will happen? I think that he will. Yes. I think that he will. That's my gut. My gut says he will survive. Because again, generally speaking, it's if you're going to pass, you pass early. If you get past a certain level, you tend to survive your wounds, generally speaking. So I think, generally speaking, since he did survive already, I think he will live. Now, does that mean he's healthy or not? I don't know, but I think he will. The concern is this guy a real leader? And this is what I don't think we know. Is he a real leader, or is he just like some guy they put in charge because he's the right face because his dad was killed? I don't know that. Is he a real leader? Who knows? But I think we'll find out here coming up real soon. My issue is, I think, generally speaking, the Iranians will want to hold on as long as possible because they know that if they hold on for a long time, they will be able to harm America the most the longer they hold on, and simply to harm Trump the most the longer that they hold on. So they're going to try to hold on as long as they possibly can. It makes sense. If I was the Chinese, I would give them as much as I possibly could to get them to hold on as long as I could if I was China, because that makes us look bad. And China wants to make us look bad. So I would do that. If I'm Trump, I'm doing whatever I can, however I need to make a deal by summer. Whatever that is, I'm making a deal by summer, whatever. If he can pull that off, he's going to be a hero. If he can't, he's going to pay a high price. That's the issue. So, guys, I want to ask you something. If I know I ask all the time, I'll ask one more time. Please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. It does matter. If you have not, please do so. Please share this or repost this now if you can. Also, if you are in the area, please come see me in New York. If you are downstate, please come by and see me if you can. I will be tomorrow, 2 p.m. in Staten Island, New York, March 21st, Staten Island, New York at 2 p.m. I will then be in Larchmont, New York, 6 p.m. at the Sherwood Beer Garden. If you want to check me out there. Sunday, petitioning event. I need petitions. Come on by. Sunday, March 22nd. I'll be at the Neptune Diner at 9 a.m. in Bayside, New York. That's Queens. Please come on by and see me if you can. It'd be amazing to come see me in person. Again, all these they're free. I hope you be nice and buy a beer or buy a cup of coffee or something for the local merchant, but not required. If you want to come out and petition, if you are a registered Republican, you can come by and sign if you want to. If you otherwise, you can come out and help us actually get petitions. We'll have some there. Sign some stuff, knock on some doors, go say hi in neighborhoods, talk some trash. It should be fun. I hope people would enjoy it if they can. I do love that piece. Also, if you haven't subscribed already to this page, please do so if you have not already subscribed. Lastly, remember, after the show, please comment, and I'm going to ask you, what do you think? What do you think about the Iran war? Period. What do you think about it? Is it good? Is it bad? Should we do it? Should we not have done it? Do you trust the government? Do you not trust the government? What do you think? Tell me about the Iran war. What do you think about it now? Remember, if you do see this and it's not live, 2 videos might pop up. Please watch one of them right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Al, go Rhythm. I will see you all